I've been a fan of pandas ever since I was a kid. I've always wanted to cuddle a cub and get close to a panda in the wild. On my journey, I'll meet other extraordinary creatures too. It won't be easy finding one of the world's most elusive animals. Travel with me on my journeys in China for panda adventure. It's astonishing seeing this. The terracotta army is one of China's national treasures. But I've come to China in search of the giant panda, a national treasure that's just as precious and even rarer than these pottery soldiers. The first emperor's tomb complex is in Xi'an City, close to where I hope to find a wild panda. Pandas were much more numerous when these warriors were created over 2,000 years ago. The army was made to protect the first emperor in the afterlife. These soldiers are life-size, which makes me feel pretty good, because at 1.90 meters, I'm slightly taller than your average ancient warrior. Giant pandas are much rarer than these are. There's around 6,000 soldiers in the terracotta army, but there's only about 2,000 giant pandas in the wild and in captivity. The first emperor also kicked off construction of the Great Wall. With that extraordinary engineering project and his spirit army to think about, I wonder if pandas ever crossed his mind. I've been passionate about pandas for as long as I can remember. My dad gave me this annual when I was 7 years old, and the first article is about Chi-Chi, London Zoo's famous panda. She lived there in the 60s and early 70s. I read this over and over again. Ever since, I've had two dreams that I've come to China to fulfill. The first one is to find a panda in the wild. That's going to be a very difficult task. They live high up in the mountains, surrounded by dense thickets of bamboo. The other dream is to give a baby panda a cuddle. Not very scientific, but who wouldn't want to do that? To find out how a panda's fur feels. I also aim to meet the other extraordinary creatures that live in panda country. Naughty monkeys and golden ones. Tantalizing tarkin and a bamboo-eating rat. Snappy snakes. The world's largest salamander. Wonderful. Outrageous birds. And a giant glider. There's so much to see, I'd better get cracking. The Great Wall runs east to west across China. My adventures are in the centre of the country, where all the pandas live. First off, I need to find out what makes pandas tick. So I've come to a city that's the panda capital of the world. Believe it or not, my panda adventure starts here in the beautiful and bustling city of Chengdu, capital of Sichuan. Soon, I'll be seeing the quickest of quick change acts. But before that, I'm getting into a stew. Sichuan hot pot. A minute or two in the boiling broth. Bingo! After dinner, an opera with a difference. the finale. Don't blink or you'll miss it. China's certainly got talent. Around 80 pandas and over 5 million people live in Chengdu. The iconic black and white bear pops up all around the city. In the world's panda capital, every taxi has one on the bonnet. The city centre has a giant statue of a mother and cub. Tomorrow, I'll meet Chengdu's real flesh and blood pandas. The Chengdu Panda Base, a magnet for panda pilgrims and a world-renowned breeding centre. The base gets through 2.5 tons of bamboo every day. The care lavished on the pandas here really pays off. Nowhere else on Earth breeds more cubs. Before I come face to face with a giant panda, I want to meet another kind that's much smaller. My encounter's coming up in a few minutes. I'm at the Chengdu Panda Base in central China for a meeting with some of the 80 or so giant pandas that live here. I need to learn as much as I can about the animals before I try to achieve a lifelong dream and find one in the wild. The pandas at the base have an incredible rapport with their keepers. There's no way I'd ever try to touch a wild panda, but here, where they're used to people, I hope to realise another ambition and cuddle a cub. Before that, another animal called a panda that was discovered in 1821, around 50 years before its giant namesake. Its discoverers proclaimed it one of the most beautiful mammals on Earth. Red pandas are definitely good looking. In the wild, these charming animals live in the mountainous forests of India, Nepal, Bhutan and China. Red pandas are so enchanting. Over the years, they've had lots of other names too. Bear cat is one of them because they look like little bears, and when they clean themselves, they wash just like a cat, licking themselves from head to toe. Size-wise, they're a shade larger than the average tabby. Like giant pandas, red pandas are bamboo specialists, but as you can see, they love fruit too. 2/3 of their food is bamboo. The name panda came from the Tibetan word for bamboo eater. These little pandas and the giant ones are only distantly related. It's only because of their diet that they share the same name. And you can see how she's using her paws to hold the apple. They're perfect for grasping bamboo too. They need to eat their own body weight of it every day, about 5 kilos. Another top fact about red pandas, scientists found that they could taste artificial sweetener, just like the stuff my mum puts in her tea. They're the only non-primate that can taste that. I wonder what sensation a sugar substitute triggers on their taste buds. See these bright white flags on the red panda's face? Remind you of the North American raccoon. Each individual red panda has a unique facial pattern. Another name for the red panda is firefox, and being this close to the fur, you can see why it is so bright. This has been an extraordinarily close encounter. One day I hope to see red pandas in the wild in China. Don't I? See your wild buddies. I love these little pandas to bits, but they're overshadowed in the public's affections by their giant black and white namesakes. I'm going to meet them now. Unmistakable, I can tell I'm approaching a giant panda. Just listen. That's the soundtrack to about 2/3 of a panda's life. They spend up to 16 hours a day doing this. Pandas are the ultimate bamboo busters. They prefer thin stalks of bamboo, but they can break into stems that are twice the thickness of my thumb. So thick, they jam a wood chipping machine. Laying back like that, looks like she's relaxing in an armchair. All this spilt food on that great big tummy. Inside there's a thick, muscular gut full of sticky mucus, which helps prevent injury if they accidentally swallow a sharp shard of bamboo. To seize bamboo, pandas have very unusual hands. They're one of the few animals that can grip tightly and precisely, just like we can. They've got thumbs. Well, they're not really thumbs. They're a pseudo thumb. They're an extension of a bone in the wrist. The false thumb is covered in horny skin. The way she actually pushes the bamboo stalk against the thumb and the 5 fingers, that's how they can grip precisely. I'm going to do this carefully. I don't want to upset them. But you need a panda's skull, this is a replica anyway, to show what a powerful crunching machine a panda's head is. The skull is massive, these great attachment points for huge muscles. Inside cheek teeth, 7 times the size of my own cheek teeth. Perfect for crunching bamboo. But at Chengdu base, bamboo isn't the only food on the panda's menu. They also eat cake. This special bakery churns out over 100 panda cakes every day. The ingredients are rice, corn flour and soybeans with a sprinkling of vitamins and minerals. After steaming for an hour, they're baked to perfection. The smell in the bakery was lovely, but the proof of the pudding. I'll tell you what, if I was a panda, I'd much prefer panda cakes to bamboo. It looks like the pandas agree. You'd think that classifying a panda would be a piece of cake. But since their scientific discovery in 1869, experts have been arguing about exactly what kind of animal pandas are. Bears, raccoons, or some new type of mammal. Recent genetic studies have shown that pandas have as much right to be called bears as polars or grizzlies. They can stand on their back legs too. Right up there. I'm leaving the panda base for now, but soon I'll be back to cuddle a cub. The bright lights of the big city are fine, but I'm headed to a more tranquil place. Somewhere with picturesque temples, lakes, streams and waterfalls. Before rejoining the pandas, I've come to this green oasis right in the centre of Chengdu city. It's the location for the cottage of Du Fu. He was one of China's most famous poets. He lived here over 1,200 years ago. This is where he found his artistic inspiration, as people still do today. city dwellers come here to refresh their bodies and souls. A formal fan dance. They've been enjoyed in China for 2,000 years. The park has live music too. Morning sing-alongs with feathered songsters have a long tradition in China. These birds are Wamei. The songs are beautiful, but these birds have been trapped in the wild, so I feel a little uncomfortable. I haven't come here to listen to birds in cages. Dufu's cottage is a great place to see wild birds. And just ahead, white-browed laughing thrush. Little family party of them. Tossing over leaves, looking for goodies underneath. The laughing thrushes work hard to turn up food, but there's another bird here that may fly in for a free lunch. If I'm lucky, it will come for this seed. The first arrival. The birds live in flocks. Here they come, hanging in the bamboo over the water. Calling now, they're plucking up courage. Here they come. Vinous-throated parrotbills. Real Chinese specials. Parrotbills get their name because some kinds have massive beaks like parrots. China's a real hot spot for parrotbills. There's more kinds here than anywhere else on Earth. There are 21 species of parrotbill. 18 of them live in China. Time for breakfast. This is a local speciality. Spicy potatoes. 3. There we go. Shishini. These chili-covered spuds are a popular snack across Sichuan province. They relish hot food here. Is that good? Let me try one. Delicious. Thank you. I needed that fuel. This is the day I'll play with panda cubs. But on the way, I can't ignore a bay of dazzling colours in the lake. There's another spectacle at the Chengdu Panda Base. I've never seen anything quite like it anywhere else in the world. It's a fishy spectacular. These living jewels are koi, an ornamental variety of the common carp. In China, feeding the fish is a popular pastime. They're great, aren't they? In the ancient Chinese system of Feng Shui, koi are believed to attract wealth and success. But these fish didn't originate in China. They were first kept as pets in Japan as long as 2,000 years ago. Whatever their origin, they don't seem to be carping on about being in China. They're thriving here. Now for the main event. I can hear panda cubs born last year at play. These youngsters are around 8 months old. They took their first steps 4 or 5 months ago. Now they're always on the go. Pandas have remarkably flexible bodies. They can twist and turn in any direction. Young pandas are accomplished climbers, just like their relative, the American black bear. There's not many other animal babies that are as cute as this. Talk about making you feel warm and fuzzy. Everything about a panda cub makes you want to hug them to bits. I'm going to do exactly that. But I need to put on this gown in case there's any germs on my clothes that could infect the pandas. In a second, I'll be cuddling panda cubs for the first time. I'm on a journey in China in search of pandas. In the city of Chengdu, I've already got to know red pandas. And joined some giants for lunch. Cuddling a panda cub has been a lifelong dream of mine. I'm going to do exactly that. But I need to put on this gown in case there's any germs on my clothes that could infect the pandas. In a second, I'll be cuddling panda cubs for the first time. And this is my first close-up view of a panda, a little cub. They look so soft to touch, but the fur is very coarse. It's stiff too, not soft as you imagine it would be. Really likes playing. They are very powerful. Got quite sharp teeth. Like human babies, pandas start growing milk teeth when they're 6 months old. At this age, they've got 24 teeth, fully grown. They have a massive battery of teeth, over 40 of them. Look, here come a posse of pandas. Now I'm surrounded by them. Chengdu Breeding Centre had a terrific year. 18 cubs were reared successfully. You can see why pandas are in everyone's top 10 favourite animals. The way they sit, just like little people. Got these lovely flat faces. Looks like they've got big eyes. The eyes aren't that big though, but they look bigger because of the eye patches. And they really are one of the most endearing creatures on earth, aren't you? Good girl. And the cubs, look at this, they are relishing the apple. Start taking solid foods when they're about 6 months old. If you could shave one of these little pandas, I wouldn't want to do that, but beneath the black patches, there's dark skin. Beneath the white fur, pandas have pink skin. So a panda's two-tone pattern is skin deep. You certainly couldn't get this close to an adult giant panda. Those powerful jaws and massive teeth can crush bone as easily as they can crush bamboo. And some scientists think this black and white pattern, it's actually a warning display. Keep away from me. I can defend myself if I want to. So I'm pleased you've just got milk teeth. This is a dream come true, cuddling a panda. Now I'm even more determined to see these beautiful animals in the wild in their mountain home. Hello. Hello. Later in the series, I'll be back at the Chengdu Panda Base to meet this year's newborn cubs. It's the mating season now, although these bears aren't being amorous, they're just playing. It used to be thought that pandas just weren't interested in sex, but that's a myth. We just didn't know how to be panda matchmakers until recently. The key discovery, timing is everything. Females are only on heat for about a week in the spring. Then they're eager to mate. To get the timing just right, a battery of tests is carried out on a female's urine sample. With only around 2,000 pandas left and over 10% of them in captivity, every cub is priceless. No wonder Chengdu goes to great lengths to give their panda bears the best chance to breed. Even with all this technology, cubs still aren't a certainty. As we've seen, Chengdu Panda Base is very successful at producing babies. Fingers crossed, there'll be more in the autumn when I return here.
Hello.
I'm on my way to the mountains where wild pandas live. In the foothills below panda country, there's another creature that's a Chinese national treasure. It lives in the south of Shanxi province. It only survives where the farming methods are traditional, like here in Yang County. The really peculiar bird I've come to see is the national bird of Japan, but it's extinct there now. They've also gone from the Russian Far East. This beautiful agricultural area in central China is the only place in the world you can see the crested ibis. It's time to get into a flap so the locals can understand what I'm looking for. They're proud of their precious birds. Flooded fields are the best places to find them. There they are, my first crested ibis. Both of them have got grey plumage, so they're probably young birds, but I can't be sure. The adults are usually white, but some of them keep the grey juvenile plumage for all of their lives. Less than 30 years ago, there were only 7 crested ibis left anywhere in the world. Their recovery began right here. These are distant views, but there's one place where I can get much closer. On the way there, another creature catches my eye. These gravelly riverbeds are good for other scarce birds as well as crested ibis. On the pebble bank, just ahead, it's a long-billed plover. The mate's just flown in. And that is great. He's doing this really funny high-stepping walk. A courtship display that impresses me, but not his mate. That's why I love doing this job. You never know what you're going to see. Looks like John Cleese, the Ministry of Silly Walks, in Monty Python. You've got to admire this bird's persistence. I'll leave the plover strutting his stuff and see what I can find in the village. The snake, it's a big one, yellow and black. Whoa! And there, this, hey, a beautiful rough-scaled rat snake, non-venomous, of course. Oh, got me there. And this is a beautiful snake, about as large as they get. Oh, there's a bit of blood there. Funny smell. It's released a musk from its anal glands. The stench is to scare off predators. And these are the villagers' friends here in China. Even though these rat snakes specialise in eating other snakes, they also consume pests like mice and rats. But of course they can also climb, and they would certainly not turn their nose up at a young crested ibis or another bird in the nest. Oh, and this is a tremendously beautiful snake. That hiss is a warning to me. The Chinese name for this reptile is king rat snake, and that's because this snake has the Chinese character, which means king, right on top of its head. But in the sunlight, these glittering gold scales. So I'm going to let you go. Okay, off you go, little fella. There's wildlife everywhere here. It's not just on the ground. Lots of colourful birds all around the farmhouse. Up there, a lovely male yellow-rumped flycatcher. That is a gem of a bird. He's singing his little heart out. Flash of black and brown. It's a female paradise flycatcher building a delicate little cup nest. It looks like she's weaving spider's silk into the nest. She's moving her body to shape the nest cup. It's hard work being a home builder, but there's help on the way. The male's just come in, and it's the white form of the Asian paradise flycatcher. One of the most beautiful birds in the world. Great long tail streamers. Such a flashy bird, you wouldn't think it would bother to help build the nest. This is great. The flycatchers and other wildlife have certainly benefited from the old-fashioned farming methods used here. The fields are not treated with chemicals, and the farmers are subsidised to stick to traditional methods, securing a future for the crested ibis. The rare birds also need a high place to nest and roost, so tall trees are protected for them. The crested ibis sometimes nest very close to villages, and ahead of me here is a nest with 2 crested ibis chicks. This is where the locals watch them from. I shouldn't be disturbing them from here. And if I'm lucky, one of the parents will come back to feed the babies. Chicks are getting excited. There must be an adult nearby. Flash of pink wings. Here comes the parent. Yep. And there, right down its mum or dad's throat. Getting a really good meal there. The other chick is getting nothing. One chick is pecking its brother or sister. This is real sibling rivalry, pushing it out the way so it can get to the food. This time the smallest chick loses out, but he'll be okay. In this protected area, the parents come in with food regularly. The rejected chick just raised its crest. Looks a bit disconsolate. The adults are away, but only one of the chicks got fed. Crested ibis, they're certainly the rarest birds I've ever been filmed with. A remarkable story, only 7 in 1981, around 1,000 today, all due to terrific conservation efforts in China. The future for these chicks is looking bright. These fields are being burnt for next season's crop. They'll soon be flooded, providing a smorgasbord of worms and small fish for the ibis to feed on. Ni hao. Hello. My visit to Yang County was magical, but I've a burning desire to see a wild panda. To do that, I must head for the hills. There's another national treasure here. After the break, I'll get hands-on with a giant. Wonderful. And go head-to-head with another super snake.
Please!
I'm in China in search of living national treasures. I've already fulfilled my lifelong dream and cuddled a panda cub.
Sharp teeth at this young age.
Crested ibis, another national treasure, are coming back from the brink of extinction.
Right down its mum or dad's throat.
I've met another kind of panda too.
Each individual red panda has a unique facial pattern.
And caught a stunning snake.
A beautiful rough-scaled rat snake. Non-venomous, of course.
Now I'm venturing into the Qinling Mountains in the Shanxi province of central China. Bamboo forests cloak the upper slopes of these spectacular mountains. About a fifth of the wild pandas that remain live here. But before I ascend to panda country, I want to encounter another national treasure, also unique to China.
Oh, you really need a head for heights for this. He put my foot through. Before I venture into panda country, I've come here to show you some of the creatures that live in and along the fast-flowing rivers and streams of the Qinling Mountains. Down there lies the lair of a giant. The monster usually prowls at night, but there's plenty to see before darkness descends. I'm hoping to discover some tales of the riverbank. First, I'm tailing a white-capped water redstart. If only I could fly from boulder to boulder too. The pumping tail could help the bird blend in with the moving background of fast-flowing water. But nobody can be sure that's the reason these redstarts constantly flick their tail. I wonder if there are any sunbathers up on the bank. Snake! That's what I came up on the riverbank for. Ooh! Don't bite my nose! Please! This is a big-eyed rat snake. You can see it's so long and slender. This is built for speed. Could easily chase down a lizard. See by those big round pupils that it hunts by day. Hasn't got the vertical pupils of a nocturnal snake. And you see the tongue coming out all of the time here. The tongue tips flick back into the mouth. Snakes have got a special organ called Jacobson's organ. Chemical sensors there, so the snake is totally aware of the odours around it. Sticking its tongue out like that may also be trying to scare me. And I'm going to unwrap this. Come on, fella. Off he goes. There's another one! There are snakes everywhere in China, and this is a truly aquatic one. This is called the tiger keelback. Tiger because of those orange and black stripes. Keelback because every scale has a ridge along it. Look! You can see a bulge in the tummy here. It's just had a meal. This snake specialises in hunting fish and frogs. It has no venom. It swallows them alive. You are beautiful, aren't you? Let's let him go now. So let's see you. Swim away. Up ahead, there's another speciality of these tumultuous torrents. Another really smart river bird, a forktail. Forktails are a group of birds only found in Asia. You can see why they get their name. This is a white-crowned forktail. She's collecting nesting material. She's got issues with me. I'm not a forktail psychologist, but the way she's moving that crown of feathers on her head, she's not too keen on me being here.
Day turns to night, and the creature I'm after will be out and about soon. It's time for a moonlit plunge.
The giants that live in these frigid mountain streams usually leave their lairs at night.
If I catch a glimpse of one, I'll have to move fast.
This water takes your breath away, but it's worth it to show you this fabulous creature. This is as precious as a panda, the Chinese giant salamander, the largest in the world. When they're full grown, they can be 6 feet, 1.8 meters long, nearly as long as I'm tall. This is a teenager, about 15 years old. They live to a ripe old age, over 50 years. This is absolutely wonderful. Never leave the water. Got this wrinkled skin which they breathe through. That's why they live in these fast-flowing streams full of oxygen. Come out at night to catch their food. They live on worms, insects, and small shrimps. They catch their prey by lunging out and snapping those jaws sideways. Very good parents. In the autumn, the female lays between 400 and 500 eggs. The male then protects the eggs until they hatch in the spring. He's with them for the whole of the winter, chasing away fish or any other predators. Sadly, Chinese giant salamanders are critically endangered. They're a delicacy here, but now the government have given them complete protection, so hopefully in the future, these fabulous creatures won't be on anyone's menu. How could anyone eat you? Now I'm going to let this gorgeous giant back into its stream. Off we go. Oh, that water is freezing cold, but the giant salamander was a fitting finale to the first episode of Panda Adventure. Next time, I'll be climbing higher,
Right into the heart of panda country.
Woohoo!
The going will get tougher. I'll find my first evidence of wild pandas.
Smells like freshly mown hay.
Golden monkeys go into battle.
Down here, I really feel part of the family.
I lure in winged beauties.
I can tell it's a male because it's got these feathery antennae.
There's a giant glider. And two of China's biggest celebrities meet up for a chat.
I hope you can join me next time on Panda Adventure.